Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 68 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. So, yay for day 68. 32 days to go. Kind of looking forward to being done with this 100 days of writing. And I know it's something I need to keep doing, but I'm tired of doing it. It's hard. It's hard to come up with something to write, especially on days when I don't feel good or I don't necessarily feel inspired for one particular thing or another. And today I was just kind of like, I don't know what I want to write about. And I have a book for my future series of the um, series, Lanoia series. It's not the Lanoia series. Lanoia is the first book, and I was talking to my friend, the one that's supposed to help me with my book covers, the one that moved away. And she was saying that if I do like series, that I should give it like a series title and then like a book title. And if I do it like, the prequel series and then the series and whatever books kind of all go together in the series. So even though they all connect to each other, they can be different series, kind of like different seasons for TV shows. So they all kind of each season would have a title, like season one, only this wouldn't be season one because it's series, they're books. So it's series one, series two, kind of a thing. So I titled, so like Lanoia and the Teachers of Powers and The Fall of Espenglandia. And then if I write Sonia and Pegland, which would be those four books, would be under A Land Divided, would be the series title, and then each of them individually. So then the next set of series for that all in the same kingdom, all the same fantasy world kind of a thing. I had the title for the book is The Wise One, and then I was calling it The Wise One series because it's all about, the Wise One and things like that. So, but I was thinking, because I did Lanoia and the Teachers of Powers, because Lanoia is the main character in that, I thought maybe instead of calling the first book in the Wise One series The Wise One, I could call it Modulea, because Modulea is the main character in that book. It's who that book is about. So I changed the title today to Modulea. And I was trying to think of something else to go with it instead of just Modulea by herself. But then I was like, nah, I can't think of anything. I mean, I thought of other things like Modulea in the Forbidden Room, Modulea in the Wise One's Room, Modulea in the Connecting Stones. But none of them really fit, and I don't want to do Modulea and the Teachers of Powers because I did Lanoia and the Teachers of Powers, so I don't want it to be like the same. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to leave it as Modulea for right now. I may change it back to the Wise One. I may change it to the Wise One's Room. I may just leave it as Modulea. I don't know. And I can't say I really did a whole lot of writing or revisions. I just kind of started reading through that book again because it's been a long time since I've read it. And I didn't jump to the end, not the end, the middle to wherever I'm at in writing the story. I just started at the beginning to read it to see how it flows. And for the most part, I really liked it, but I hadn't formatted it. So I had all the hard tabs for each paragraph. And I had like spaces in between each paragraph. And I'm like, oh, I need to fix this. I need to fix this. And so, I mean, that was mostly what I fixed. There were a few other things I noticed that I used the word looked all the time. And I was like, I need to find a better word for looked. But looked works so well. So I had to I changed some of the looked to like surveyed or stared or some other words, glanced. I think those were the ones I changed. And then I got to a chapter where I started using my own language because I am started creating, made up some words, creating my own language that they're going to speak. The only problem that I'm running into is in my head, Modulea speaks Sonyish tongue because she's from the land of Sonya. And Pegland is pretty much like English. I haven't made up a separate language for them, so it's basically the same. But it's a separate language for Modulea. But the Sonyish tongue, the old tongue, is what they speak, is what Lanoia and the Teachers of Power speak, because that's the old kingdom before it gets divided and all of those spoiler alert things. If anybody's watching this video, I should say spoiler alert before you get to that point. But anyway, it's a whole series of things. But the time that passes between the two series, basically, the language changes over time, just like Old English and English are not the same. So Modulea refers to it as the Old Tongue. And so I'd used some of the language for the Old Tongue in the book. And then I realized that doesn't really work, because if I use it as the Old Tongue, then I have to alter the words a little bit for the Sanish tongue, or I have to, because I'm not writing the book in the Sanish tongue, because nobody can understand that. So I'm not going to sit there and translate the whole thing. But as I progress in the book, and as she meets other people that speak different language, then of course, obviously, I will use her language and then find ways to translate it and things like that, so that the reader can understand what's being said. So, I mean, I kind of did that in this one, where I'm like, it made sense the way that I did it, but it was like, then I realized that I had to change it, because then it's like they're speaking in their own language, but yeah. So I can't have the Old Tongue and the Sanish tongue be the same, is kind of what I'm saying for consistency purposes. So I could just refer to the Old Tongue as the Old Tongue, and it just sounds different, kind of like Old English, or like English and British English, where it sounds similar, but some of the words have different meanings or things like that. So I want it to be kind of like that. So I just, yeah. So I had to change that tonight. I was kind of disappointed, because I'm like, I like it. And I have all those words. I saved all those words in a document, so I know what they are, and I've written them down, and I know how it works. So it's not like I can't figure out the language again. And of course, when I was reading it, I knew exactly what it said. So I didn't have to, I didn't even have to look it up. I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense. I know what this says. So it just popped into my head. This is what this means. So I was like, cool. Except that I was like, I can't use it. So I had to change it. So I changed it a little bit. I think that works. But I just didn't use any of the new made up words that I made up, and I will just have to put them in my later books. So they will get used eventually. I just haven't gotten to the books where I'm going to use them. So anyway, that's all I did. And it was like the first 3 chapters that I read through. I don't know how long they are, but I'm tired. Like, my eyes are like starting to hurt. I'm just like, I'm falling asleep. So I figured, I'm like, I'm done. And I know I feel like I've just kind of been cheating with my writing, and I'm like, I wish that I was going back to where I was writing whole chapters every day and doing all of that. And I'm still trying to find the balance. I'm struggling with the whole balance and setting a schedule, sticking to a schedule, and all of those things. And I keep telling myself, I'm going to do this. And when it doesn't work today, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And it hasn't worked out for me. And I'm very good at avoiding things and not changing. And like I said, old habits, old default settings, they're hard to change. It's hard to make that adjustment. And it's something that I have to be more consistent with myself on. And I'm not consistent with myself, because I didn't grow up in a consistent environment. Consistency is not the norm in my life or for myself. So I'm trying to learn how to be more consistent with myself, so that I can be more consistent with other people and with what I'm doing, and so that I don't feel so overwhelmed with everything that I'm supposed to do or that I want to do. Because if I have it in my schedule and I spend so much time every day doing it, it will eventually get done. It won't get done overnight, but it will be, baby steps, and things will start getting done. And things have been getting done, and I have been doing a lot of writing, and I've written a lot of different things. I've experimented with a lot of different writing, discovered I used to write poems when I was younger in years past, and so it's kind of fun to do that again. And so it's not like I haven't had fun doing writing and writing different things, and it's not like this isn't a form of writing. I mean, when I first started this, I was revising a book and then writing a book, and I was just like all into everything. It's like, yeah, but I think I bit off more than I could chew, and I was doing too much, and I wore myself out, and I don't have the energy, I don't have the health to do all of that. And so it's finding that balance, and so it's having to take a step back, and I don't want to. It frustrates me that I did that, but I feel like it's been a good thing for me. It's been good to look at things differently. It's been good to write about other things. It's been good to see that I can still fulfill my goals, just not necessarily the way that I thought I was going to. I'm allowing myself the opportunity to adjust, to what's needed, to my environment, to the situation, to the day at hand. I am trying to learn to listen to the Spirit, to God more, to myself more, to be like, what do I need? What am I willing to work on today? So that I don't feel like I'm fighting myself, so I don't feel like this is something I dread doing. I want it to be something I enjoy doing. So when I sat down tonight, I opened up my laptop and it's like what pops into my head, and I'm like, Majolea. So let's go to Majolea. Let's change the title to Majolea. Let's read through it and see what I wrote with this book. And again, it's fun to just kind of read through and get drawn into my own story and be like, oh yeah, this is actually really good. There's not a whole lot of things I need to change, except that I wrote the word looked like all the time. I was like, okay, I need to change that. So, I mean, some minor changes, some minor adjustments. And I was like, okay, but that works because I went through, I reviewed, revised like 3 chapters in my book. And it makes me feel good that I did something. I'm working towards something. And I don't know when I'm going to finish it or when I'm going to publish it, but I like saying when I'm going to do it, not if, because eventually it will happen, because that is the goal. That's what I'm working towards. And as long as I keep working on something, eventually something will get finished. I just don't know when or which one will get finished first or which one will get published first at this point in time. I mean, honestly, Lanoya and the Teachers of Powers is the closest. Probably Recognizing God's Hand in My Life is the next closest one. It's kind of a toss-up between Majolea and The Fall of Espinglanja. And I'm really not that far into The Boy from the Stone. And I haven't really I have that other book for the other series that I've called Running for My Life is the title right now. I'm not even sure I like that title. I'm going to have to change it to something else. But that's kind of a working title at this point in time, and I haven't even managed to get myself to get all the way through chapter 1, or where I'm content ending at chapter 1. So that one's very far from being finished. So, and then of course I have other random stuff that I've written, just more like notes for like future events, future things that happen in future books, but they're not even, it's kind of like, oh, this story idea popped into my head, or this conversation with these people popped into my head. So I typed it up, and this was years ago. This isn't anything recent. And I'm not really sure like what book that story is going to end up in, what conversation that's going to end up in, or if I'm even going to use that particular conversation when I get to that part of the story. But that is years down the road because I am nowhere near that conversation. So anyway, that's kind of, that's what I chose to be working on tonight. So that's what I did for my writing. And I'm trying to remember to use nice words towards myself and to be grateful for the things that I'm willing to do. Because I feel like sometimes I've lost my little attitude of gratitude, and I can feel myself being kind of grumpy and ornery. And I don't like that so much. I really do enjoy feeling positive and feeling happy and having that attitude of gratitude. And tonight I was realizing that maybe it was just because I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't listening to what I need to do, not taking care of myself, not drinking enough water, not eating enough food, not getting enough sleep, all the things I don't do. And so maybe when I'm grumpy or having a hard time finding gratitude, because I was listing all the things I was grateful for, and I was like, this is not helping my mood. And I was like, well, maybe my mood is this way because I'm hungry, because I haven't eaten in several hours. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should stop and get something to eat. Maybe I should take a break and get something to eat, get something to drink. And it's amazing how much that improves my attitude and how much more grateful I can be. So I am learning, not only through this process, writing about myself, but it's making me aware of my feelings and what I'm feeling. And it allows me, like tonight, to recognize that, okay, I'm in a grumpy mood, and not just because I'm not finding gratitude in life, but because I'm not taking care of my physical needs. So again, more things that I need to be aware of and to work on. But all of those changes they're difficult to make. It's not an overnight process. It's baby steps, one day at a time, focusing on how much water I'm drinking every day. Still struggling to get like 96 ounces a day because I just don't drink water, and I really need to. So I'm trying to do better at that. So just baby steps, one day at a time. And I know eventually if I keep working on it, I will get there, because I've been there, done that before. And then I got out of the habit, which is sad. So I know I can do it again. It's just somehow it seems harder to have to get back into the habit once you've stopped. I keep thinking it would be easy because I used to do it all the time and every day, and I'm like, I should just jump in and do it. Piece of cake. And it isn't a piece of cake. So I keep hoping. Maybe one day it will be. It'll just be habit and I won't think about it because I'll just do it automatically. I just don't want to undo the positive settings that I'm trying to set, and I want to undo the negative ones, the old ones that aren't healthy for me anymore, that aren't beneficial to me, that just keep me stuck. I need to get rid of those ones, and I need to replace them with things to help motivate me and get me moving. But it's hard to figure out which ones those are. It's hard to remember to pay attention to those. And sometimes I just don't even realize that I'm, stuck in my old default settings until, I start paying attention to where I'm at and what I'm thinking about and what I'm doing. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to pay better attention. I need to do better at staying in the moment. But I'm grateful that I'm aware of all of these things. It doesn't mean that I'm going to change all of these things, especially not overnight. So I'll probably mention them multiple more times until I figure it out. But I'm grateful that I'm aware of them. And I'm working on accepting that that's where I'm at. And then, if I remember right, awareness, acceptance, and then action. So I'm just working on being aware and accepting that this is where I'm at and this is what I'm struggling with. And at least I know what's going on. So that somehow that helps. That's kind of comforting. It gives me a little bit of peace. It helps me to just kind of relax and be like, okay, this is what it is. That's fine. I can adjust to that. So, I wasn't feeling tired and feeling hungry. So I left work early so I could come home and do some writing and go to bed early. And then I still stayed up playing games on my phone because that's what I do. I'm just avoiding my life. I'm very good at that. But trying not to give in to the depression and the disappointment, and just trusting God that things will work out for the best, and just grateful that I could find something that I was willing to work on as far as my writing goes, and grateful I have all the different options and I'm not stuck with just one thing that I have to do. So I like that too, because I love having different options and different things that go with all of my different moods, because I have a gazillion of them apparently. And maybe not that many, that's quite the exaggeration, but sometimes it feels like that. So I'm very grateful for the options that I have, and I'm grateful that I can continue to do these videos and find things to be grateful for. So that's all I have for today. If you like, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe some writing.